This is my fourth attempt at making this video. I have a problem with enunciating. I've been told that I mumble all my life. And when I watch these videos, even I misunderstand myself. So, welcome. These are not all the books I have in my collection. I repeat, they are not all of the books that I own. However, these are some of my favorite books. I've read these books probably in 1 or 2 sittings, and I don't have a favorite. I'm just gonna talk about them and what they mean to me. I love the novelizations of the movies. They surprise me. I do enjoy Empire is my favorite film, and the novelization for Empire is a lot of fun for that reason. An interesting fact, Yoda is written as being blue instead of green. That's about it for that one. This one's a great book because, for many reasons, probably the best novelization. It gets into the minds of the main characters in a way that none of the other books do. I'm not putting those down, just saying that this one is a great companion piece to the film. I highly recommend reading the novelizations, especially in instances like this where the movie is not particularly strong, but you read the story, and well, I couldn't put this book down. There's a lot of extra scenes that help make the plot, that tie the different pieces of the plot together, and you see how it just really enhances the story of the film. And actually, it got me in the mood to see it again. I felt that it made me second guess myself, thinking maybe I had judged episode 2 a little too harshly. I found that was not the case. The film is not my favorite, but the book is one of my favorites. The episode 1 novelization is also very good. This one has a short story about Maul. When he's younger. I liked the movie The Phantom Menace. Came out in 1999, and it was really exciting when all of a sudden they were making Star Wars films again. I remember when it was just the trailer for episode 1, and that was probably the happiest everybody was about the franchise. Everybody was excited, and there was no mention of some of the negative things that people associate with the prequel trilogy now. I don't want to mention. Jar Jar Binks. And I don't mind Jar Jar Binks as a character. He's just, there's always been silly characters and stuff. But that's the thing, what wasn't executed very well in the films, I feel the books did do a great job with. So, and this brings us to Shadowhunter. This is a re-release of Shadowhunter. Shadowhunter originally came out around the time of The Phantom Menace. It had a different cover, and I read this one recently because I was looking for more books about Sith Lords, and it's fun to go back and read these books that have come out before, and it would remind me of when they were brand new, and I would see the covers many times in bookstores or in grocery stores, and I would wonder what the stories were about. I would see other people reading them, and I was always very curious, and it was fun to... That's what I find when I go through the pages and I read the text. And I just imagine those times when there's always I feel like right now we live in one of those moments where it's a very exciting time for Star Wars. The 7th movie hasn't come out yet. It has a really good trailer, and there's nothing but hope right now for the upcoming trilogy, for the spin-off movies. We all just hope that they'll do good things with the franchise, and in the past 20 years, there's been other great moments where it was just a great time to be a Star Wars fan, and I feel like one of those was 1999. Another time was 1996, when the original trilogy was re-released for the last time, unaltered. Well, that's not a true statement. See, the movies were always changed in every iteration, but what I mean to say is that they were released one last time before they had the major changes that they did with the special edition. Everybody was excited about the special edition at first, and there's good things about it, and there's other things not worth mentioning right now, but so in 1996, just Star Wars had all the potential in the world, and I had just finished watching the original trilogy for the first time in my life, and this book came out around the same time as that. It was called Shadows of the Empire. It received the treatment of a movie without actually having been a movie. So there was a soundtrack, a comic book, video game, this novel, and each iteration of Shadows of the Empire tells a different story, a different part of the story. This one here is more well-rounded, where you get to see everybody's point of view, mostly Luke's. But the video game tells you about Dash Rendar's story, and the comic book more about Boba Fett. So Shadows is cool. It's no longer canon. 1991 was another great time for Star Wars because Heir to the Empire came out, and this gave birth to the expanded universe. Everyone should read this book because it's a great book in its own right. And while there are still other great books after this, if it wasn't for this book, most of these other ones wouldn't exist in the first place. many quintessential characters in the EU were introduced in these books. For a long time, people thought that this was going to be episode 7, 8, and 9. So it's fun to go back and just imagine life, what would have been. They'd introduced Grand Admiral Thrawn, which you can see here, not very well, but he's a really good bad guy because he's not force sensitive, but he's just a really good military mind, and he's very strategic. And it's fun how Timothy Zahn can make that second nature to anybody. Like, it just makes sense the way he thinks, this alien, this one. And speaking of what could have been, Splinter of the Mind's Eye, I don't think this was considered canon even before Disney bought it, the franchise, but this is what would have been if episode 7 was not, if A New Hope was not a financial success and Fox didn't give Lucas a big budget for the second film. This is what the second movie would have been. It involves a love story between Leia and Luke. Darth Vader doesn't really mention anything about being their father. It was meant to be a low-budget film, so most of it takes place in a swamp. It's a really quirky, fun read. It doesn't push the story, the narrative of Star Wars as a whole further, like some of these other books do, but it's just a fun, odd addition to anyone's library. I believe it was the first book to be published, besides the novelization of the first movie. Drew Caprician is one of my favorite authors for Star Wars. I feel like he gets a lot of the best stories to be, and he executes them well. He's a fun reader. He's a very fun read, a lot like Tim Zahn is a fun read. It's easy for me to get hooked. This one's by far my favorite, Path of Destruction. It's the first of the Darth Bane trilogy, and you get to see how Darth Bane manipulated the Sith into serving his will. I don't want to give too much away. Maybe if I was doing an in-depth review I would, but it shows you how he invented the rule of 2. There you go. And it takes place like thousands of years before any of the movies, but it's fun to go back and imagine all this crap. I don't know why, I just always loved Star Wars. This is not a Darth Bane book, but it's an Old Republic book, and Drew Caprician gets to do a lot of Old Republic stuff. I believe he's involved with BioWare, so he was involved with a lot of the Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic before that. While I did enjoy Revan a lot, it just wasn't what I expected. It was still very good. It told you a lot about Darth Revan, but I was expecting it to go into his life as a whole, the way that Path of Destruction kind of goes through all of Bane's life. It didn't really do that, but that's okay. It was still a very good book. I enjoyed this one a little more, to be honest, and I was surprised because it didn't include a lot of really important characters besides Bastila, and I think she's only mentioned briefly, if I remember right. So definitely read some Drew Caprician, some Timothy Zahn, novelizations of the movies. This book took me by surprise. I wasn't expecting them to go in this direction. If you go through the lives of, if you follow the story of the expanded universe, excuse me, got my gross leg there. You find out that Han and Leia have twins, and this is Jason, and he has his twin sister Jania, and then they have a younger brother Anakin. Without giving too much away, you kind of grow up with them in their lives, and this book here, Legacy of the Force, is about Jason turning to the dark side. And if you are familiar with the story of his life, the way I was, you would not have seen that coming. It's a great, that one's a great read. I finished it pretty quick. This one's a lot of fun, especially around Halloween time. Death Troopers. It's about some virus that turns people into living zombies, basically. And a lot of surprise cameos in this one. It's fun because you don't really experience too much horror in the Star Wars universe. And while I wasn't really scared, it was a fun, creepy book to read, especially around Halloween. It has a prequel, Red Harvest, which I own also, only I didn't finish that one the way I finished this one. Let's see. Well, I'm going to try uploading the video. Wish me luck. Hopefully I would have enunciated better this time. I plan to release videos pretty often. I'll be doing reviews, a lot of rambling. I'll be flipping through some comic books I own. Let me know if you have any suggestions. Alright, have a good one, guys.